And we're rolling. Hi guys. I've been chatting on some of the forums today about website speed, and it's apparent that I need to make this video just to help people understand a little bit more about how a website works from the very start to how it appears on your screen. It's kind of a virtual thing, a website, in many ways. I mean, before the web, you had Yellow Pages, a listing, and you can touch Yellow Pages listing, but a website, and screen brings us a lot of virtual things. So what is a website and how does it appear on your screen is a good question. Well, browsers, one of the most amazing 21st century, probably they came about in the 20th century actually, I guess now. So browsers, render amazing inventions. So essentially we had the internet and we didn't really have a great way to use it until browsers came along. What browsers did was they standardized things called markup tags, HTML, and basically that tells a browser how to display a piece of text. For example, in the original websites, some of you might remember, there was things like blink or marquee. They were specific tags, and the browser would get that tag, and that would be, either side of that tag would be the text, and it would be making the text in between that tag blink if it had the tag blink. And that's as simple as it gets, really. And bold, BR, line break. This is really basic HTML stuff, and it just serves to tell you about how a website is rendered in your page. There's a lot more now than there was 20 years ago with it. So we have CSS cascading style sheets now, which give a very rich design to websites and give responsive natures along with JavaScript, so that websites can be big and landscaped on a desktop machine and then flow down in block fashion on a mobile device. And all of that's evolution of the web, basically. But what hasn't changed is how that website gets to that browser. So we're talking about HTML files at its most basic level, with some CSS style, which can be within the HTML file or it can be separate. And then you have images and things that get loaded from the HTML file. So essentially, at a very basic level, you've got HTML, some CSS and some images, and then we could get more complicated with videos and stuff like that, etc. But let's keep it simple. So why would a simple HTML page with a video and some CSS take a long time to load? It really shouldn't. And it's not about how much RAM your server's going to have, whether you're on a shared service, whether you're on a VPS, or whether it would actually be a factor if you're located in Melbourne, your server's in Melbourne and you're browsing from London, you'd have a latency then. But it's really less to do with that. What it's to do with is how that HTML code is created often. You have content managed systems came in and solved a problem where people wanted to update their own web pages, and they made a lot of sense, and they still do, and they're very good ways to get a website up and running quickly. In fact, a lot of so-called web designers and developers who don't know how to code, wouldn't know how to build a responsive website from scratch, would often use a CMS to get a head start. And so you get a website with a CMS like WordPress or Joomla, for example, Drupal, lots of them. Their ecosystem is that you can add plugins and all sorts of things, adds more and more code, and that necessarily shouldn't be a bad thing. So all of this code and all of these extra plugins and things get organized in a bunch of files. In the case of WordPress and Joomla, that's PHP, and that is code that gets executed on the server. It's server code, and things get stored in the database. So you've got two extra layers of things that slow you down here. Server code runs on logic. So does this user have a session? If yes, grab his username, display his username. that kind of logic happens when the browser says go to this particular web address and get that page, and within that page I'm asking whether that user's logged in, information about the user, and if there's a session. So there's tons of stuff gets created, and this is what makes web pages a rich experience. So we want all that stuff, right? So it can't be bad. So what you have to do, so that's where it slows down essentially, is where you have a lot of plugins and a lot of things loading in parallel, because the plugins will all want to load their own styles so that they display properly and inherit some of your styles too. So it gets more and more complicated. But just remember that a web page is getting served, it's getting downloaded as a file from your browser, and it's that download that could be compressed, it can be optimized. So it's less to do with your host, it's more to do with how your website is set up. And I guess what I'm saying is there is a lot of the skill of the web designer and the web developer. The web designer just, traditionally just come up with a design, and then a web developer would put that in place, or a web agency in the past. Now you've got people buying templates and just customizing templates, calling themselves web designers, have no idea how a web page is rendered in their life. That was abstracted away from them. So let's stop banging on about poor hosts, and let's start talking about more efficient understanding of how the web actually works. Websites are very complicated beasts these days. They do a hell of a lot for you in that web page. They're organizing financial transactions. Their security is people take the web for granted. It's another point that I wanted to raise. So what I'm trying to say is, it's something you can do a one-click install of a WordPress website. Go to a page, browse loads of templates out. Oh, I like that one. Click, boom. Just go in and customize and do that, and you'll get a website. It won't be fast. So by all means do that, but then it won't be fast, and don't complain to your host when it is, because essentially that big ecosystem of a content managed system, and it's not its fault, it's doing a wonderful thing. We've got PHP 7 now, it's twice as fast, and you can run Nginx with an Apache layer and improve the speed yet again. But if you are not optimizing your site, compressing certain files, zipping it up, and having all of those settings in place, which a good web design agency such as Cams Digital would do for you, then you could be lost, and Google will kick your result, because it's not going to let you wait 6, 7, 12 seconds. This guy's site was loading in 12 seconds. Nobody's going to wait around for that, especially on a mobile device. So rather than let this video run on, I'm going to stop it here. And I'd love to know what you think about where web design agencies are going. You might have an agency yourself, you might run into this issue where you're marketing yourself. So I'm quite interested to talk to other people in my field, really, I suppose, because it's, time moves on, and I don't mind the fact that people are coming along and designing websites and stuff, but maybe they need to come and talk to somebody like myself as a layer to optimize the site. So I don't know, let's see. But thanks, that's another video post from myself for Cams Digital. Thanks, bye.